Hello dear. Here we are going to discuss about nature inspired computing techniques subject. I'm Deepa, working in a university. So here we are we are going to discuss about immunocomputing. So immunocomputing is based on the inspiration that is taken from the immune system of our human body. Okay, so in this video we are going to focus on the introductory part of what is immune system and what are the main components of immune system. So here, what is immune system? Immune system is one like whenever some disease attack occurs, like disease attack, it might be a bacterial or viral or fungal infection attack in a organism, our body tends to react itself. Okay, so there is an inbuilt system that works as a barrier and that fight against that foreign agent whichever enter into a body. So that is called the immune system. So immune system is the one that actually fight against the foreign agent that enter into our body, and this is naturally inbuilt, it is there in our body, and we are going to discuss about the working mechanism of those things. So these disease causing agent, it might be either virus or bacteria or fungus, we call those agent as a pathogen, and our immune system, it is capable of protecting against these pathogens. Okay, and there are two basic type of immune system that actually works in our body. One is innate immune system and next one is adaptive immune system. So this innate immune system is the first one. Okay, so whenever a foreign agent enter into our body, this is the responsibility of innate immune system to detect that something occurs. Okay, some foreign agent has been entered into our body. So here this innate immune system recognize that some pathogen enter into a body and it recognize the generic pattern of those generic molecular pattern of those pathogens might be either bacteria or viral, whatever it is. So it is going to recognize the molecular pattern of those pathogens, and once it is recognized, it will send a signal to the adaptive immune system. So this innate immune system doesn't react itself. Okay, it is not going to fight against this pathogen, but it acts as a barrier. Okay, so until this adaptive immune system starts fighting, this innate immune system will um, keep the pathogen in a place. Okay, so it won't allow it to enter into the system. So this is the first line of defense against this several type of pathogen. So it recognizes the generic molecular pattern and it sends signal. Okay, it sends co-similar signals to the adaptive immune system. So this adaptive immune system is the next one. So this starts fighting against those pathogen. Okay, so whenever a pathogen occurs now, it is going to recognize, like this innate immune system, it already recognizes the molecular pattern. So here it will develop, it will create a specific molecular pattern that actually fight against this entered type of pathogens. Okay, so the work of adaptive immune system is to analyze what is the pattern for the pathogen, and it will create a specific pattern that will fight against those existing patterns. Okay, so once it is done, it will create a memory, like for those kind of pathogen, whatever it has created, the new molecular pattern that will be stored in the memory. Okay, so this underlying principle is copied for the vaccination policies. So vaccination policy is one like it is going to fight what happens in future if something occurs to the human. Okay, so here if we have a vaccination for chicken box or measles or something, right? So here the actual procedure is, so the samples, a dead sample or a weakened sample of those disease causing agent is inserted into the human body, so that innate immune system recognize a molecular pattern and the adaptive immune system will create a pattern for fighting against those kind of foreign agent. Okay, so once that fighting and all done now, here we know that the samples that we have taken is either weakened or dead samples. Okay, so automatically our body will react against those samples and it will be removed. Okay, and those pattern that actually worked against that diseases, right? So that will be saved in the memory. So in future, whenever those kind of diseases like measles or chickenpox occur, our body already know how to react for it. Okay, so then this is easier one. Like we don't have that time for preparation. That is not needed over here. Okay, since the molecular pattern for those kind of diseases are already known, our adaptive immune system starts to react itself so that the cloning of that pathogens will be reduced. Okay, so this is the principle that lies behind this vaccination policy. And next we are going to see what are the main components of this immune system. We are going to focus on the human body. There are primary lymphoid organ and secondary lymphoid organ. Like we call this immune system organs as the lymphoid organ. So here thymus and bone marrow are the basic immune system. Like they are the basic lymphoid organ from where it is actually generated. The immune cells will be generated, and secondary lymphoid organs or tonsils, spleen, and all other lymph nodes and all. So here these nodes helps us to have a support for the primary lymphoid organ. So here immune system is distributed all over the body, and we call this immune system as a lymphoid system. So this lymphoid system is responsible for protection, growth, development, and maturation of your lymphoid cell. Maturation in the sense it is the place where it starts fighting against those pathogens. Okay, and here all these molecules or the cells that are formed will be there in this white blood cells. So this white blood cells bears a specific resistor to recognize those kind of pathogens. Okay, and here we have two specific type of lymphocytes. We call it as B cells, T cells, or B lymphocytes or T lymphocyte. And B cells, it matures in bone marrow. Maturate means like it is able to fight in against the disease in bone marrow, and T cells it maturate in thymus. Okay, why we focus on B cells and T cells alone? These bone marrow and thymus are the primary lymphoid organ. So these cells are capable of cloning themselves. Cloning in the sense like these B cells or T cells are can multiply themselves. So whenever something happens, it is able to clone themselves. And B cells, it is specific, like it can go through an genetic variation in the sense like it is capable of mutation. Here both T cells and B cells, everything is generated in bone marrow. So once after generating, these T cells will move to thymus for fighting against the disease. Okay, that is what we call it as thymus, the place where it actually start fighting against the germs. Okay, so both generated in bone marrow, but moved to the T cells generated in bone marrow will be moved to thymus for acting. And we have something called negative selection of T cells. Negative selection in the sense like the cells, the immune cells, it has to remember themselves. The pattern for themselves need to be remembered. It should only recognize the pathogen. It should not recognize ourselves as the defective cells. So that should not be done. That is called negative selection. Wrongly considering the own cell as a pathogen. Okay, and we have these all this T cells or B cells. It has a receptor. Okay, this receptor is present in the upper surface of that or antibody, and it is capable of recognizing those pathogens. Okay, thank you.